and gentlemen, a very good evening to all of you. I extend a warm welcome on this wonderful occasion. We are gathered here to release a unique book, Because Time Does Not Heal, authored by life coach and metaphysical therapist Sahar Gharachorlou. The browser is extremely proud to have published this book featuring 10 powerful case studies of past life regression through which Sahar shows her expertise and helps her clients and students navigate the complexities of emotions. Sahar explains that time is an illusion that merely buries our pain deeper within our memories. Sahar's vast experience of over 15 years has taught her the importance of shifting focus from problems to solutions. Her book reveals how past lives and present experiences are intertwined, providing a deeper understanding of our emotional turmoil. Because Time Does Not Heal, just like her previous bestseller, Twice Born, is a compelling read that promises to challenge the reader's beliefs about healing and offers practical solutions for those looking to take charge of their emotional well-being. Without further ado, I would like to invite the author Sahar and the publisher Mrs. Deep to formally unveil the cover of Because Time Does Not Heal.
Sahar, congratulations. Even before the official release of the book has gained such tremendous response from the audience. How does it feel?
Hi everyone, and hi Alicia, thank you. Yes, I'm a little overwhelmed with the response. I wasn't expecting this, and it feels really good actually.
Sahar, everyone who's hearing the title, because time does not heal. When we think in life, we usually have the totally opposite notion. Time heals everything. How did you come up with the title and the concept, or what is the mantra behind Because Time Does Not Heal?
Usually don't come up with titles. Those who know me and have worked with me, they know I get it in my meditation. Both the titles for both my books. So it just happened. In fact, I was writing another book and that was not progressing. And then I sat in meditation to understand what's the block. Am I having the writer's block? What is it? And then I realized I'm supposed to write this book. And the title came. But as far as why this title made sense to me is because actually time really does not heal. That's a lie. They have told us to just make us feel good. It really doesn't work. So, and time in itself is an illusion. Time is just a distance from an experience. If I have experienced something in the past and I forgot about it, like I've already experienced something and I forget about it, then that's my past because there is a familiarity, but I'm not going through it in the moment. When I go through something in the moment, when I'm totally present, then that is now or the present. And then whatever I'm doing today will create something which is my supposedly my distance from a desired experience, which I would then call it future, right? So there's no time actually really.
This is new. You were saying there's no time, but I'm not going to ask you to explain it more because I know it has been explained in the book. So once our audience reads the book, they'll know in detail what the concept of time as you're putting it means. Moving on, this book is about past life regression therapy. You have been a healer for so many years, a therapist for so many years. You've practiced various meditations, therapy techniques. Why? What was special about past life regression that this particular thing, this topic I'm going to choose, and then there are going to be powerful case studies that I'm going to put out.
So you're right. I practice a lot of stuff, but anything else has a sense of judgment attached to it. Today, if I think that my situation is because, let's say, my mom didn't do the right thing. I mean, she did her best, but wasn't the best for me. When I want to talk about it, there is a sense of judgment. But if something has happened in a past life, then I usually people don't want to take even responsibility. I'm like, "Acha, ho gaya tha. It just happened. I'm not responsible. It's okay." So one was that, and secondly, I document every past life regression case. I don't document inner child cases, and the reason is inner child is very very dynamic, and sometimes I can't be holding to pen and paper. I really need to hold the space physically for this person, so I usually don't have pen and paper. And family constellations, again, another modality that I do is I am in the middle of the case happening, so there is no way I can really record it, and I often forget about it, even if it is for me. So, because this is something I had records, and also I'm sharing cases of people who are there. So, if someone questions, and because it is a past life, they can always come out and say it is true. Because there's so much of disbelief about what we practice. People think it is voodoo, it is some kind of a magic, but it is just reading the subconscious mind.
Uh, Sahar, it's good that you mentioned that you're in the middle of it sometimes, because that's where my next question is going. Uh, every one of us who's here has two lives. One is a personal life, and then we demark our professional lives. But in one of your cases, you mentioned that your client mentions you in their past life. How do you take that combination of your personal life mixing or merging with your professional one? How do you react as a person and as a therapist into this strange amalgamation where you're focused on your work, you have your full attention to your client, and then suddenly someone says that you were a part of their past life?
So I think we are quite trained to be detached completely while we are doing the case. And because eventually it is the client, not my story that matters, the focus is 100% on the client. Of course, I'm noting them down and I will go back and work on it. But at the moment that it happens, if it is like good, like someone said you were my teacher in the past, so those things are still okay. But sometimes there's scary stuff. So of course, it jolts you a little, it shocks you a little, but I think I've trained my mind well enough to not deviate. And then if I need to work on something, because we say whatever we experience is actually a result of some cause. Now, if I was in that past life, I have a role to play. But that moment, it is not my story. It is her story or his story. So I work with that story first, and in my own time, I work with my story then.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's very brave, I must tell you, because it's not very easy to get that switch in your head about the personal and professional. Um, you have put out 10 case studies in your book. And if we look at them broadly, they cover almost every topic of our problems or problems that any man has, be it professional employment or love, infidelity, self confidence issues, mental health issues. Was it a conscious choice that you wanted to give everyone something for their problems, or did it happen organically?
Okay, I actually, if I answer this, you will stop believing in me. But I will be as honest as I can. No, it wasn't a conscious choice because, as I said, I need to be guided for whatever I do. And when I don't listen, that's where the mistakes happen. So, actually, I have worked with work means not only past life, my entire clientele has been about over 9,000 cases. So for me, nothing is really new. Like some part of a story I've already seen with someone else. But these cases were the cases where really stood out because the presenting issue and the solution were not linear. So,
Okay.
right? So, because we think in a linear manner. We
Yeah.
think if I slap, sorry, but Alisha, then Mehak should slap me. We think that is karma, right?
Yeah.
But these cases were obviously very non-linear. And I think that will expand our horizon to think differently about our intentions, actions, what are we doing with our life. So in that way, yes, I think when I put them together, I realized that, but not while I was putting them together.
I think then it is to the audience's benefit that almost everything has been covered. Um, One of the things that I loved about your book while I was editing the book was that you write this very intricate statement about soul plan. You say that all the hurdles that come to us are the plan of your soul. Either it is for the evolution of your soul or the growth of the collective consciousness of your tribe. But when in our daily lives we are facing issues, we can't really do that in retrospect and be like, oh, this is my soul's plan to teach me a lesson. You will, oh, why is this happening to me? How does one navigate that? To constantly remind yourself, or add on to that, is there a difference between hurdles and soul plan, or are all hurdles a part of the soul plan?
Usually there is no difference. So ideally the soul plan is designed in a way you go through every event smoothly. But unfortunately we forget the soul plan. Okay. So now when we forget the soul plan, what we do is we are continuously working on a pattern. A pattern that's familiar with the mind. Now if I am familiar with only suffering, I think the answer to everything is through suffering. So, as a collective, we have a great association of suffering and growth. We have a great association of suffering with reward. Unless I go through pain, there is going to be no gain. How many times we have heard this? Yeah, so this is a collective programming now, right? So, how to navigate through it is, of course, you must remember that everything is happening for you. And if, see, Creator is not capable of creating suffering for us, he doesn't do anything which is imperfect, wrong, or whatever, right? Yeah. So now who's on the way? I am. Yeah. I am in my own way.
So I guess we all need to work on ourselves. Okay, good. You have also mentioned little nuggets at the end, after every case study, a little paragraph or two paragraphs about the lessons. What were the lessons or the challenges that you learned or faced while writing the book?
So the first lesson for me, which was a repeated lesson, was stop thinking. Just let life flow through you. Because with the second book, the original second book, I was stuck. Then the second thing is it's again a repeat because I know all of this, right? I have been practicing, I talk about it, I teach. But to be able to really trust your awareness, if something is not feeling right, there is a reason it's not feeling right. Your body won't lie. At least your body. I don't know what your mind, but the body doesn't lie. So if it feels, these are the repeat messages which I feel I should really adhere to.
Okay. Is there a third book in the charts for us?
I shouldn't be commenting. But yes, of course, I would actually say 2 books. Okay. One is the one which is incomplete, and I don't know when to complete it. And then there is another one which is quite related to mental health, but of course, in my way.
My last question to you before I open the floor for audience questions, so you have the time to think of them right now. Sahar, what is the most challenging part of being a leader?
Okay. First and foremost is that after a point, people start to think you're God. You should not have any problem. You should not have any illness. You just simply should not be touched by any adversities. Now, why is this a problem? Because they start judging you the moment you have problem. And the talks of, oh, she herself has that problem, how will she heal me? We all are human beings and we all are going through experiences, right? So this is the first one. And the second one is when the people start becoming wanting to be dependent on you and wanting you to bring solution for everything in their life. When they actually start thinking you are the priest, not the therapist, and they want you to do some kind of a ritual and get rid of the problem. So I think these are by far the most difficult challenges for us.
First, again, congratulations. Also, because we are also releasing the second edition of Twice Born, her first book, and hopefully we'll meet again and again for the third and fourth book. But now I'm opening the floor for questions. If anyone has any questions for Sahar, please.
Hi. Yeah. So as a healer, how do you express yourself when you say time is illusion? One. And secondly, the subconscious mind. How do you relate as a healer? I mean, do you target the subconscious mind? Because as a logical person, I would know, there's a fine line.
Yes, of
So
course.
these are my two questions to you.
So, how do I define myself is when you don't believe in time, you become very fluid. You can keep dying every moment and rebirthing the next because something in you has become obsolete. You can easily let go of the conditioning, limiting beliefs, my way or highway, and you become more in flow with life. And you still remain the same. Your essence is the same, it's not going to change. But you keep growing and you will not be scared of growth. Even if that means you need to completely unlearn who you were an hour before. So that is how I have been. And today, before coming here, I had a session. So one gentleman, an elderly gentleman in the session says, "What I like about her is she doesn't care. She speaks her mind." Yeah, we speak our mind, and sometimes that's not really in our favor. And the second thing about the subconscious and the conscious, there's not even a line. Actually, it's the one and the same thing. It's just that the functioning of them is different. So, logically, we have 10% of our mind, which is the domain of logic, the domain of analysis, what we need to navigate in this reality. However, the subconscious mind is a part of our mind, which is, by the way, 90%, nearly 90% of the mental capacity, which actually holds all the things that we do not wish to know. Okay? So, my job is to target the subconscious mind. Because they say, no, the mind that creates the problem, the same mind cannot find a solution to it. But the same mind's other part, which is the subconscious, can find the solution, actually has the solution. So that's how we try to work.
Have you experienced any person who's in his first life, in his or her first life? There has been no past life.
No, I haven't. And first of all, I'm really, really happy you could make it today. Thank you for coming. No, I haven't. And the reason is that, the evolution has a process. And usually people who come seeking answers from the level of the soul are actually old souls. And they're the ones who are realizing that beyond this mind, there is a part of me which is screaming, which wants something. And so they are usually old souls. So then it means they have been in human body before.
So, have you experienced someone who has hit his or her first life?
Yes. 4 people, to be precise.
Hi, Sahar.
Hello, sir.
Congratulations. And I have a question. Somewhere someone mentioned that you, in this book, are trying to move people away from problems into possibility. So, how do you differentiate problems and possibility? Because if you talk to people, most of them, they define their lives and themselves with the problems they have. And we rarely look at possibility. So how do you do that? How do you move people from problems to possibility?
Thank you. And thank you for being here. I'm really honored.
Thank you.
So basically, within the problem is a possibility, and the possibilities of growth. So the problem remains a problem where we are only looking at it from one dimension of looking. This is my perception. Let's say this is the water, and I have a perception that any water that comes without me opening the water can actually be some virus in it. I can fall sick. Now, this is my perception, right? But this cannot be really true. So what we do is we try to open the horizons of the mind and give them options to look at the same situation from different angles. And often the solution is one of those angles where they missed it, Maybe from the corner of the eye, if they would have looked, they realized the guy just opened the bottle and got them the bottle, right? So we just changed the perception.
Hi, Sahar. I want to congratulate you. And
Thank you.
I just want to share this serendipity. So I was just sitting in the cafe and I saw your first book, that is Twice Born, and I just picked it up. And I told you I read it from cover to cover, and some pages I was literally taking photographs of and rereading. that I'll tell you which chapters they were. And I'm really thrilled to know that you're announcing a second book, and I look forward to seeing it. My question to you is, I still have that one that I posted, pattern wala. I put it on the Instagram when you'd come live. So so it is that I cannot stick to a profession. Yeah. So you told me that's a pattern. So how to break that pattern? Is it there in your book? I need to go to session.
I really can't say that. It's very, it would be very unfair if I shoot my mouth just like that. Usually, any therapist will take a consultation, which means hour and a half, 2 hours of going through your history to understand where is this pattern getting originated from. But now, so the part of me is therapist, and a part of me is also energy healer. So maybe from that part I can help. So if you have a pattern of being unstable in anything, whether it is changing job, changing homes, whether it is relationships. So of course relationship is a little different, but when it is place and also something you are doing for earning, job. So that is indicating that there is an energy blockage in the base chakra. I'm talking as a healer now. If the therapist and past life is out of it, because I don't know what is your history, so I don't want to say. But this is more universal. The chakras are more universal, and when we have the wisdom of it, we can identify. So probably working to understand the pattern of instability if you work with the chakras and find anyone who can heal your base chakra, will help you to be more stable in the job or in the place, location, whatever that you are. But now, if I want to talk as a therapist, of course I need to be able to diagnose what is the issue. But as a therapist, obviously you're operating from a pattern of dissatisfaction. Something is bringing you to a point of feeling bored, and I am assuming, don't take it as a Bible, it is probably because what you're doing is not of the interest to your soul plan, or how you chose, what was your expression, why you came here. You may not be working in the same field, not close enough to that. So then you need to see how to navigate. Obviously, you've studied so much to be where you are. Now you have to navigate it and find how do I make this more attractive to my soul and the growth that the soul seeks from my profession.
Hi, Sahar.
Hello.
Many congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
I have a very simple and basic question. So, my question to you is, if a human being has like maybe 10 problems, so some may be small, some may be big, for us in a size. So, how do a person understands when and for which problem to go to a past life regression therapist? I mean, yeah, for every problem, I mean,
No, please don't do that.
how do we identify and how do we understand that which problem really needs a past life regression therapist? Thank you.
So, first of all, please don't go for any issue to a past life regression. It's not required that everyone must experience it. It's only in cases where the suffering has become so much and you have really tried reading books, maybe doing a workshop, maybe doing some self-search, and really genuinely you can't find what is happening. And usually if it is a pattern, so what I suggest is mainly if it is a really difficult relationship issue, maybe you can look at going to a past life regressionist, or the pattern has repeated more than 3-4 times and every time it's a huge setback, either emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, whichever way. But for all the petty issues and the small little things, my boyfriend left me now, I want my ex back, please don't go to a past life regression. It's such a waste of your time, your money, your energy, and even our time and energy, honestly. I'm sorry that I'm being very blunt. And then only these which have really strong patterns and you have really searched whichever angle of your life and you couldn't find an answer, or extreme maybe physical health issues. There are some diseases which are karmic. Like I had a case of this lady with thyroid cancer. The mother had thyroid cancer and even the aunt had thyroid cancer. And all of them detected in a span of just 7 to 8 years. And then one would become okay, the other one would reoccur, So she contacted me from London and Then I realized, okay, this is like one case. And it was interesting. Just the simple message or awareness that you should ask for how much you can handle in life. We may be very ambitious and we may want so much, but can you really handle it? You know? So the past life was about something she had asked and she couldn't handle it till date. You know? So she understood that it's very recent, so I can't tell you how she's doing. It's just 2 weeks ago. We need at least 40 days to a year for such cases to really work. Right? But these kind of things, yes, but not for every small issue. You really, what I suggest is, you please learn certain small little energy healing, like let's say chakras and all that, and help yourself. Why do you need to come to someone like me? You don't need to. You can handle your life very well.
Sahar, I'll take two questions, one for you and one for Anisha. My question to you is, you've also spoken about self-love, and accepting your flaws, accepting yourself, forgiving yourself. And nowadays there is a lot of conversation around self-love. But that has led to many conflicting notions about what self-love is, because there is a thin line. So how do you deal with explaining this concept to your clients or your students? How do we know where we are crossing that line of addressing? And Alicia, to you, as an editor, what made you believe in this book? You can.
Thank you. So yeah, unfortunately there are two concepts which are absolutely abused. One is self-love or love, and the other one is the idea of, how do you say, the idea of being a part of collective in a different way. So when it comes to self-love, it is the most difficult topic to teach or to make someone understand, because genuinely, no matter how many books you read, no matter how many sessions you do, no matter how many workshops you attend, unless that switch within does not happen, the self-love will not happen. Now, to my understanding, self-love is about just being able to accept yourself for who you are and knowing that you are special. Now, some people only like to hear this much. Okay, they don't want to hear the other part and they usually forget it. So, when you truly accept yourself, you have come to that switch happening where you accept yourself, then you also accept everyone else for who they are. Then there is no judgment. There is no, oh, this is my husband, so must behave in this manner. This is my sister, so must be loving me in this manner. So people think, self-love, it means you become selfish, and some people act. I won't say selfish, but act in a way which probably is not conducive to everyone. Yeah. Because we can't really judge them also. So, but the whole idea is to become in so much acceptance of who you are, for what you are, in a way that it will allow you to see others for who they are, whenever they are and whatever they are. Now, that doesn't mean if someone has hurt you, now because you are practicing self-love and see them as, okay, they are also divine expression, you will go and, embrace them. You can still keep them where they belong, but you don't judge them anymore, you don't expect anymore. So, self-love is something which, unfortunately, it's very difficult to practice because our own acceptance of self is not happening. So, how will I accept you if I am not accepting myself, right? So, that's the tricky part.
To answer your question, how did I come to believe in Sahar's book? Two things aligned for me in Because Time Does Not Heal. As a person and as an editor, if someone is not forcing me to believe in what they believe in and they give me the liberty to be, this is what I feel and this works for me, and you check it out. If this works for you, then okay. So that's something that worked for me. I'm meeting Sahar for the second time today, but I've been editing her work for months and months. So I stayed with her words way more than I've stayed with her. And when I was reading her words, I always believed that a good sign of a writer is when you read something and you can feel the truth of their words. So when I was editing her words, I could feel that the person who has written it truly believes in it and it is their truth. So yeah, I can get behind this. I understand this. Moreover, even if I do not believe in past life, even if I did not, sorry, but even if I did not believe in past life, even then, at the end of the case studies or the chapters, there were small things for me to improve upon on myself. That this is what you can do. This is if you're facing a certain issue in a certain area, this is how you can improve yourself. That I think was very important to me. And before we close this, I have another question for Sahar. I'm so sorry. You mentioned you have done 9,000 cases. What has been that one case that stood out to you?
About 10, I don't know which one. Everyone's very special.
Yeah, okay. So I think this one case which is not in the book, and it's not in the book because it was a friend who came for therapy, and I would like to honor her privacy. I mean, I didn't want it to be in the book because a lot of her cousins would be reading the book. But so the case study was such that she came for some relationship issue, and sometimes what happens is I'm clairvoyant. So sometimes I also see what the client is saying. Not all the cases, but a lot of cases. And unfortunately, I'm a few seconds ahead of the client. That's another problem. So then what happened was she very in this life very God fearing, very homely, extremely conscious of what she speaks, she does. But in that life, she was a serial killer. Okay? And one of the people who were killed by her was me.
Oh.
Now, when you are dealing with someone who randomly killed you, it's okay. But when someone was a serial killer and killed you, and then, so what happened was the positive judgment. Why this has stood out for me was the positive judgment of that person. Being a close friend, I really didn't want to see that. And it just stood out for me because I learned as a therapist, you really can't be having judgment and you really can't be thinking anything positive or negative about anyone. And pay attention to the eyes. They truly are the windows to the soul. So when after the session she opened her eyes, I could see someone else behind those eyes. And it was scary. After that case, I didn't work for a month to recover. No, I'm serious. I didn't work.
How and when did you start doing this? I'm very anxious to know that because after hearing all your stories and healing, I really want to know, was there a story behind you that made you start this or was it someone else?
I usually take the credit of all blunders myself. So no, it was me. But so I probably have not read my first book, Twice Born. So in that I explained a little bit what happened and how I got into it. But then I got into it in 2006. 2006 is like, I don't know, maybe 17 years ago. Yeah, when I was just about 6 months old because I don't go above 18. Anyways. So because of a very bad turbulent relationship, I had to find answers and I kept thinking, what's wrong? And a friend of mine from childhood, she knows me from school and college time. She said, see, this life I'm sure you've not done anything wrong. It has to be a past life thingy, let's go. So she took me to a lady who later on I realized she's not even a trained therapist. But I was so ready. Just hearing her voice, within 2 seconds or so, I was in the past life. Even though then I didn't get the answer, but the door opened. And then I went on and trained because I wanted. But all of this was actually, I couldn't really reveal it. I was in corporate. And it was like, maybe I'm doing something crazy, maybe I've gone crazy. So, yeah, that started in 2006.
I want to know, as we know, our subconscious mind communicates with us through meditation or in form of intuition sometimes.
Yeah.
So how do we get to know our logical mind is activated or our intuition is telling us something? How do we get to know.
Yeah, very good question. Um, So your subconscious mind is very subtle. It will just give you a small little nudge. You listen good, you don't listen good. It will watch. It's an observer. Your logical mind is the pushy guy. It will keep repeating it. You must do this. You must do this. So when something is repeating, it's your logical mind. Your subconscious has no interest in doing this. Wants to sleep. So you need to be very awake and aware to listen.
I have one curiosity. I wanted to know when you do your past life regressions, is it true that human beings are always reincarnating as human beings? What about the pets and animals? And they are always. I mean, is there any?
Got it. Yeah, so this is a question a lot of people ask. So usually the human beings seem to be the highest form of consciousness on this physical reality, and the reason is we have the awareness of our consciousness. Let's say if I'm feeling sad or I'm feeling any emotion, I can decode that emotion. I know it is sadness, it is grief, it is disappointment, it is this, that. So I have an awareness of it, and I have the power of choice, and I also can communicate. So because I have these three stuff, and that's why they say you are the closest to the creator, which we don't use them, but the tools have been given. No other being, I won't call them species, because we also have had lifetimes where we have been rocks and gems and, let's say plants and all those, or ocean beings or whatever. So any other being can only be born and then can also be taken off the universal radar through death. But they don't have an awareness of what happened. They just experience it, but they can't decode it and understand it. So when we come to human life, usually we have come to the last stages of the evolution. We have come to a place where we are ready for a sense of awareness, and now we can co-create with the creator. We can have a choice of whether I want to have a child or not. So we can co-create. But other species, they can't they're co-creating, but they're not aware of it. It's just whenever it happens, it happens. It is designed that way, right? So usually once we come to human life, we don't go back to animal lives. We have come from energy to, let's say, elements, to, let's say, rocks and mountains and plants and higher form of plants, and then animals, and then pets, because pets are closer to us, and then human beings. But I have had two cases where they had actually once back went to an animal life because of the very ugly deeds they had done. So they had chosen that, the soul chooses, there's no punishment. Their soul had chosen that I have done too much. I don't deserve to be in this level of consciousness. And they had actually gone back. Just two cases though.
Great. So thank you so much, Sahar. Thank you, Alicia, for this wonderful discussion. I think it's fair to say that this book has something for everybody in it. And I'm sure it's going to touch many lives and will encourage people to focus on their emotional well-being. And thank you to all of you for joining us today. We have the books. We also have the new edition of Twice Born with a revised cover. Both have a special discount which you can buy and also get it signed from Sahar, making full use of this opportunity. And we also have IT, which is right outside this hall at the back. So please do stay back and enjoy. Thank you so much for being here today.